Hello. So we'll wait a
Hi,
couple
Nuriya.
of minutes and we'll start. So I suggest that we will mute all the mics. So we'll enable only two speakers and we'll unmute at the end when we have opportunity for discussion. So let's wait a couple of minutes. Is Kagan here? Okay, don't see him. Okay, let's wait. So, okay, let's start. I hope that Kagan will join us later. Okay, Dr. Zafer.
Okay. I
Uh-huh.
think Esra sent a message for Kaan.
Okay. So we'll start. So thank you for everyone Kagan has joined us. Thank you. So thank you for joining us today. My name is Nuriya Musina and I am Executive Director of CIS Orphan Consortium. And I have pleasure to moderate today's webinar. The title is Management of Hemophilia as a Rare Disease, Models for Assessing Innovative Therapies, the Turkish Experience. So first of all, some practical points. Our webinar will be in English and the webinar is being recorded and it will be available, the recording will be available on our website, on the website of CIS Orphan Consortium. So we'll have presentations and at the end we have 15 minutes for discussions. So if you have any questions, please type them in the chat and at the end we'll answer them. And also, if you want to add something, to comment something, please raise your hand at the end of the meeting and we'll give opportunity. So just a few words for our foreign colleagues about our consortium. We are the partnership of 26 organizations from CIS countries, from 7 CIS countries. Those countries, those organizations are mainly large hospitals, national hospitals, which provide health care for patients with rare diseases. We also have HTA agencies, we have patient organizations, and we have associations of clinicians like pediatricians and other specialties. And so within our consortium, we have a working group on HTA and reimbursement. All our participants, although they are not HTA specialists, they actively participate in our discussions because, as you understand, it's the most challenging issue to provide access and reimbursement for orphan drugs. And within our working group, we started this series of webinars devoted to new instruments, to new tools to assess orphan drugs. We fully understand all the difficulties with those medicines. And a month ago, we had a webinar about MCDA. We discussed the projects which were developed in Kazakhstan and in Russia. And today we are welcoming our Turkish colleagues, and they will present their project and their experience. And first of all, I want to shortly introduce our speakers today. Our first speaker is Professor Zafer Caliskan. He's Professor of Economics at Hacettepe University, and he's also Deputy Director of the university's Vaccine Institute. He has extensive expertise in microeconomics, in health economics, in HTA, and he also worked in Turkish National Medical and Economic Evaluation Commission. And now Dr. Zafer, he is leading the Center for Health Economics and Policy Research at his university. Our second speaker is Dr. Esra Safak Yilmaz. She's also a very a deep specialist in market access and in payer evidence, and she has extensive experience both from regulatory agencies and from pharma industry. Dr. Esra, she was head of HTA unit at the Turkish Medicine and Medical Device Agency. And she was also a member of National Reimbursement and Bioequivalence Commission. And now she works as healthcare policy manager at Novo Nordisk, where she develops value framework, payer evidence strategies, and leads reimbursement negotiations. And our third presenter today is Kagan Atikeler. His professional pathways spans both industry and public institutions. So he worked in Health Technology Assessment Unit in the Turkish Medicines and Medical Device Agency, and also in Social Security Institution. Now, Kagan, he works as market access lead for Sanofi Turkey. So please, Dr. Zafer, I hand over to you. And we listen to Turkish situation, what's currently going on, and what project you have in hemophilia, please.
Hi, everyone. First of all, we would like to thank you for your kind invitation. Today, we talk about mainly rare disease, pricing and reimbursement challenge. Of course, as you know, the challenge not only belong to Turkey. Like in other countries, Turkey face some challenge, some similar concerns, especially pricing and reimbursement of pharmaceuticals. These concerns increasing in case of course, in rare disease or innovative medication like other countries. But on the other hand, it is increasingly difficult to afford these products in Turkey, like other countries, especially if you consider orphan drugs. One of these most difficult, there is some difficulties, especially pricing and reimbursement. Turkey, and on the other hand, like other countries, has a high prevalence of rare disease and in some cases high death due to rare disease. Therefore, new innovative medicine, pricing and reimbursement, and we need new tools, new approach for pricing and reimbursements are required. MCDA, one of the tools, most common tools for other countries in Turkey. Maybe first of all, I give some information about rare disease. As you know, rare disease is low prevalence, and then due to this prevalence, very serious and sometimes lead to early death all countries. On the other hand, even more important, this diagnosis also is usually late, and so treatment also starts late for in that case. For many rare diseases, of course, early diagnosis is critical. Of course, not only diagnosis, also prevention or treatment. We have some specific medicines, these are called orphan drugs. Maybe I can brief some information about orphan drugs market in the globally in the world. Uh, Yes, if we talk about rare disease, yes, patient population is very small. Uh, there could be very high unmet medical need. Patients and families have very high expectations, especially diagnosis and treatment. Unfortunately, drug prices and total treatment costs are very high. Not only families, also payers on all countries. Because of this, the global orphan drug market is growing if you compare to other pharmaceutical market. This is not only because of epidemiology of rare disease. Also, there is an increasing more awareness about rare disease. And also we see that progress in genetics and diagnosis in this area. And also many pharmaceutical companies devote more research, especially research and development in this area. When we talk about price and reimbursement, orphan drugs are often not considered like other standard or classical drugs, medicines. So spending per patient is very high, all world, for all countries. So payers, especially payers, want strong critical evidence before the pay. But the evidence base is often weak if you consider rare disease, because as you know, clinical trials have very small conduct in a very small size for very small population. Many trials are single arm or sometimes no randomized. And also there is limited safety at launch. On the other hand, if you look countries' pricing and reimbursement strategies, we see that health technology assessment is widely used in reimbursement decision for especially for many European countries. HTA usually focus on, as in see slides, cost effectiveness and budget impact analysis. If a company prove cost effectiveness of their product, of course, HTA progress is more feasible for payers. But if you think again, orphan drugs, classic HTA approach can be not used commonly. HTA can be too narrow and may especially other innovative products, innovative treatments. So in recent years, additional criteria being used. Today we talk about, after me, Esra and Kagan talk about MCDA process in generally and also our country experience. But if we again consider rare disease, we implicitly talk about value-based pricing, value-based assessment, value-based reimbursement. But again, classical HTA progress cannot sufficiently cover, especially some specific, an important area that are, for example, patient experience, family experience, health-related quality of life, disease severity, budget impact, etc. Sometimes rarity or disease severity can important in this subject, in this process. Yes, multi-criteria analysis sometimes can help the payer, especially to make optimal decision, resource allocation in their process. Sometimes decision maker already implicitly use multiple criteria informally in their decision. Sometimes we see such example, especially in oncology area. Designing any MCDA, formally MCDA process, and important, especially if you consider national rare disease strategy. By the way, I want to talk about Turkey national rare disease strategy. 2 years ago, there is a published document, Rare Disease Strategy and Action Plan for 2023 and between 2027 for Turkey. This report is unique holistic report and nationwide approach to rare diseases led by Minister of Health. There is some target defined in this report. For example, three an important key goal defined in this publication: patients, families, and health professionals. The second goal, of course, is to guide and support people with rare disease and their relatives. Of course, there are some another important goals. I do not mention detailed, and maybe after this presentation, I can let another explanation for Esra. Esra, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, but Kaan will continue.
Okay.
Kaan, stage is on yours. He has a problem with...
The opening the void needs the permission. This reason I could not open again. Thank you very much. And I will be very happy to meet you today and to continue with the main mechanism of the project and why we defined the need of this project. And then Esra will continue the current steps and what we have done so far. And the value-based the approach, which also the Professor Zoltan Kalov is created in MCDA mechanism, is a new topic that has been discussing for also healthcare reimbursement decision making. And so far, we decided to pursue this project for hemophilia landscape and try to implement it in the hemophilia reimbursement decision making. We can move on the next slide, please. So the main perspective of this the project is to focus on hemophilia therapeutic area and reimbursement process decision making process in all product life cycle and focus on the need for the changes. And so far we recognize that there is the direct price comparison between the standard therapies such as plasma products and new generation products. This took us to evaluate and understand what is the need to understand value of new generation therapies. And then we could also understand the value of the new products. There is also another point to understand that in local perspective, how many products are included in the hemophilia landscape, in hemophilia A and hemophilia B. And in the meantime, also the total number of patients are taking these treatments. And to also understand the dosages per patient. That also will lead to data transparency. And our project is also inspired by the government development plan, which is also aimed to increase value-based the healthcare reimbursement decision-making for the future. We can move on the next slide. And I believe that is the main important part of the project, that it is very important and most critical part that if starting with the project with all stakeholders together, we could also understand from the beginning till end of this mechanism, and also to find out where we are missing and how we implement the value-based decision-making process. So this is the project are carried by Professor Zoltan Kalu and Professor Zafer Caliskan, and also the Haluk Özsarı included in the also Hemophilia Society as the represent and deliver us the main unmet medical need in the treatment landscape. And as an industry, we supported with our perspective. And all the companies are mainly supporting the project. And as a Novo Nordisk and as Sanofi, we are taking the lead of the industry side. In the meantime, we had the advisors from also ex-president of Medicines Agency, Dr. Hakkı Gürsel. In an extended team, that if the project started with the high-level stakeholder visits and explain our aim and the need for the future decision-making process. But in extended team, we invited the experts from all stakeholders for reimbursement decision-making process. In addition, we also invited QS in the hemophilia landscape, and also the patient representation is included in the project. So I can leave the floor to Esra to explain the main milestones on the project so far.
Thank you, Kaan, and thank you for this great presentation to Professor Caliskan. And Professor Caliskan and Kaan has explained the Turkish landscape and also what's our goal for this MCDA project. And I want to explain that what was our main milestones for this project was. And we have initiated this project in April 25, and we have started with a kickoff meeting. It was a face-to-face meeting, and we have came together with all the stakeholders from government, from Minister of Health, Minister of Finance, Presidency, and also Hemophilia Association, Patient Association, and it was led by also Data which is a very important association for Turkey, because this association is leading value-based reimbursement development in Turkey. And Professor Caliskan and Haluk Özsarı is head of these associations. And after this, in this kickoff meeting, actually we have decided what will be our roadmap. And also we have created a core team. In that core team, we represent all these stakeholders. And after this kickoff meeting, Zoltan and his team has worked on a systematic review. They conduct this systematic review to create a criteria pool. they reviewed all kind of hemophilia studies, and they create a pool from these studies. And after this study, we have held 3 workshops. And at the first workshop, we reviewed this pool and all kind of criteria, and we decided which ones are suitable for Turkey. And at the second core team meeting, we have decided for new criteria. So we created some new criteria for Turkish landscape. For example, we created a localization criteria for Turkey, because for government, localization is a very important, how can I say, policy for the Turkish government. So we decided to add this as a criteria in our model. After then, we have held our last workshop, and at this last workshop, we agreed on all the criteria, and also we agreed on the weights of the criteria on the model. And on October, actually, we have completed our model, and also we have completed our study report. And in November, we have presented our study in ISPOR Glasgow with Professor Caliskan and also with Professor Zoltan. And now we are planning a panel discussion session in HTA International. You know, it will be held in Istanbul next year. And Professor Rabia is leading this congress. So we will make a panel discussion at there. And also we will publish a scientific manuscript for this project. Next slide, please. I can say that in that journey...
Esra, Esra, may I request a simple explanation about weighting of criteria? Maybe we can turn 4th or 5th slide before. Just a minute, please. We can show here. Yes.
Yes.
Could you give a explanation about, for example, there is a different criteria, some of must, some of course, based on the decision of committee or members of on the table.
Yes, actually, we have discussed all these criteria, and also we vote them. As I said, that we have created a core team, and we vote all these criteria. And Professor Zoltan had given some numbers for our votes, and we created these weights like that. So I can say that it's a very fair station at there.
Yes, of course, these criteria can be changed from country to country, expert to expert. But most important thing that the most important to gather all possible stakeholders on the same table.
Yeah.
Otherwise, MCDA is not go on work on.
Sure.
Of course, Professor Zoltan provide past some countries' experience before we decide or discuss about this criteria. These experience led to us to make a proper choose, especially about criteria.
Yes, you are right. And I would like to say that with my final sentence, I would like to say that journey was our main goal was learning. So we have started with learning. We tried to learn together with government, with industry, and with the associations. what we have learned? We have learned how we can create an MCDA model with this kind of extended stakeholder engagements. And also what we learned, the implement of this kind of approach to our healthcare system. We understood what we need for that. And also what is the main stakeholders' role should be in that and in this kind of approach we have learned. So we believe that this project will be a pioneer project to develop a structured HTA system in Turkey. And we hope that it will be a start point for Turkish government. And I would like to say thank you for this great presentation and a great opportunity, Nuriya.
Thank you so much. But of course, we have questions. So colleagues, please type it in the chat. Meanwhile, I'll ask my own questions. So as I understand, now you have standard procedure for the decision making. The company provides the dossier, it's assessed, and then the decision is made on the committee. So how is it feasible to implement a separate procedure for specific disease? So how are you planning to implement, how to change the procedure? Is it feasible now? So what is your plan?
Mm-hmm.
It could be feasible. I want to say some about our expectation, especially if you consider payer side. If you think payer side reflects about this project, maybe you remember we have conduct a in my opinion, semi HTA process for price reimbursement in Turkey. But of course, if give acceptance MCDA model in Turkey, we cannot left standard reimbursement process in Turkey. Our aim to add another specific tool to reimbursement, especially for rare disease in Turkey. Of course, without legislation or any arrangement from governmental side, it could not be common for reimbursement in Turkey. Although, especially pharma companies eager to accept this process, this tool, and of course maybe patient side has accept this process, but main barrier to see acceptable for payer, especially Minister of Finance in Turkey.
But Dr. Zafer, I don't understand. So you see this tool on hospital level, for example, to make the selection of medicines, because as you said, it's difficult to change the general procedure. Why I'm asking? Because I'm trying, to think how it could be in our countries. And the first hurdle is that we have general procedure. We even don't have specific procedure for orphan drugs. And of course, it's better to develop specific tool for specific diseases. But how, to regulate this? So, and as I think, maybe it could be a good option to implement this tool on hospital level, on regional level, when they decide what to procure, what is needed for them.
Esra?
Actually, Nuriya, you are right. We are, how can I say that? We cannot say that they will use this tool on the reimbursement procedures after we complete this project. We know that. But in Turkish system, we can say that they can use this kind of tools because our regulation lets that. How can I say that for example, we can go through to the SSI with a MCDA model. We just trying to change their mindsets. You can use these kind of tools to make your decisions. But how can I, as Professor Zafer mentioned, especially the Minister of Finance doesn't want to change their current system. There's a barrier at there. But our main goal is not in the hospital, in country level, reimbursement processes. This tool will be used. Our goal is at there because in Turkey we don't have a different. How can I say different processes to take medicine in reimbursement status, different from hospital, different from SSI products. There's no difference between them.
Okay, thank you. And we have also a question from our audience, Dr. Mohamed Yusuf. Dr. Mohamed Yusuf, thank you for joining us. It's our colleague from UAE, from Abu Dhabi. So he has a question. What about real-world data? Is there a robust way in collection in Turkey?
Yes, actually, I can say that we have a very strong real-world data in Turkey. We call it in A-nabız and also medulla. It's a national-wide real-world
Data source.
collected sources. But the problem is that the government doesn't use this real-world evidence data. Yes, actually, I can say that we have a gold mine, but we don't use it.
But it's similar
Actually,
in many countries. Yes.
Yeah.
Here, I can maybe add a point that it's not just for not to intended to use, but there is also need for to analyze the data, and we need also work for that focus to analyze this database. Otherwise, we have very functional database by using digital tools, both prescription and all the reimbursement and disease-based digital data are available. But this reason, we also the first question, the Nuriya, you asked us the same basis. I can reply that if we focus on one treatment landscape and to find out how to improve and how we can make a disease-based, value-based decision, then we can also extend this to other treatment areas such as oncology and other rare disease. That would be the starting point as a pilot.
This is also was my question. What about transferability of this tool, for example, to other rare diseases? What is specific and what could be applicable for other diseases? Could we, for example, could you develop this tool as a general
Definitely.
tool to assess all orphan drugs?
Yeah, the main framework is actually general. So the sub points will be differentiated based on the disease area. Maybe the Esra Professor Zafer would have comment.
Yes, I can say that one or two criteria should be changed because these criteria are defining the disease. So we should change for disease to disease, to treatment area to treatment area. But the other criteria should be common for all of the treatment areas. I can say that if you want to implement this tool to the other treatment areas, there would be no huge effort. We can make it very easily. We start with hemophilia because of there's a limited patients, and also we can control all the data. And we know that government has great data, real-world data. They know all kind of dosage, all how many patients use these products. They know that because of they can feel safe when they use these tools. So because of this, we started with hemophilia.
Hemophilia.
Thank you for returning back to this slide because we have a question in the chat about the criteria. So, Dr. Aida, thank you for joining us also. And she's from Kyrgyzstan. She is the chief clinical pharmacologist from Kyrgyzstan. What criteria for MCDA was chosen for hemophilia? Will you have your own criteria applied to each rare diseases? And do you have a standard maybe procedure assessment how you conduct this analysis for orphan diseases? So maybe we can look at those criteria, and could you explain more about these criteria? So what is specific for hemophilia, and what you think is general? And also, I have a question, how will look like the procedure? For example, company submits a standard dossier containing all the information. So who assigns the values according to this criteria?
Actually, we have not shared the selected criteria in that presentation because actually it's not, how can I say, we didn't complete our last agreement meeting with governments. We are waiting for that. And we will share with our manuscript, and you will see at there what will be our criteria. And but I can say that what will be our approach. We are planning that there will be there will be an Excel tool, and which includes all criteria. For example, if a company wants to make an application with this tool, the company will complete all these criteria and give their own values at these criteria. And the government will assess it. If it's maybe they can they could have some objections about our values, and we will engage about it. Actually, it's the same procedure with our dossier application in current system. It will be the same with that.
So
but we just change our tool. There will be, it will be used as a template.
So company will fill in the information, and the commission, the regulator, they will check all the references if it corresponds to this information. Okay, so sorry, because we didn't understand that. So I will explain to our colleagues that we didn't tell this at the beginning, that the project is still underway. So our colleagues, they are continuing selection of those criteria and the weighting of these criteria, because as we all understand, the most important thing also is weighting, how much value we go to each criteria. So I hope that in Istanbul we'll have opportunity to see these criteria. By way, some of our participants, they are also planning to attend this meeting, HTI meeting in Istanbul, and I hope we'll have opportunity to meet them personally. And so now it's clear that still the assessment will be done in the committee, but the company will provide specific information. But when you now give this information to select criteria for your decision makers, for your experts, can you mention some of the criteria which are specific for hemophilia? So those are clinical effectiveness specific to hemophilia, as I understand.
Yes, of course.
For example, we have added a criteria for hemophilia, bleeding rates. Annual bleeding rate will be a criteria for hemophilia. Actually, we can use Cali instead of bleeding rate. It could be a treatment criteria, but unfortunately, there is no Cali score set in for specific for Turkey. But the good news, after these meetings, the government, the Turkish TÜSEP, has decided to make a national criteria, national, how can I say, Turkish Kali set. Yeah, they will work on this, and they will create Turkish Kali sets. So after this, we complete this study, we will use Kali as a criteria in this model.
Okay, now it's clear. So now you use specific criteria, but if we want to talk about all the diseases, of course, we need to use quality adjusted life years. But in this case, if you change the criteria of effectiveness, does it mean that you have to do again the weighting of this criteria?
Yes, sure. Actually, we know that in our report, this tool should be, how can I say, we should every year reassess this tool again and again, because for example, government wants to change some weights, or maybe some criteria will not work. Yes, we decided this will be a criteria, but after 2 years, maybe it will not work. So we can change it. We will again come together, and we will again decide about it.
Especially we consider patient experience, because in my opinion, the most important component of MCDA is patient experience. And patient experience can be changed during treatment and after treatment. And MCDA again take this changing to reflect again in this scoring.
Dr. Zafer, does it mean that you will implement specific tool to measure patient experience with own scale and use it as an input in MCDA as additional criteria, PREMS?
Yes, of course.
It's very interesting.
Exactly.
Actually, we have included some patient experience criteria in the model, and we agreed on this criteria with government and with the other stakeholders.
And one more technical question. Which technique do you use for weighting? Is it swing weighting? Is it the discrete choice? So which kind of technique do you use?
It can be seen a discrete choice in my experience, based on my experience.
Because the main problem which we see when trying to implement MCDA tool is its difficulty for understanding of stakeholders. They don't understand how we get those values when we do weighting. And I think discrete choice, it's more user-friendly, let's say, because they make this choice, and after that we can calculate the value, because other techniques, they are more difficult for understanding for non-specialists.
Yes, exactly.
And we have more questions. What score scale do you use when ranking the criteria? Different or the same score? I think this is, I understand what we are talking about. It's the scale. Of course, we need to use different scale because if we, for example, we talk about quality of life, it's between 0 and 1. Yes. If
Yeah.
we talk about other criteria like number of bleedings, we need to understand that what is the highest number of bleedings. So we have 0 and the highest value, I don't know which we will have. So we need to put the whole range of possible values of each criteria, and then we weight all those criteria.
Yes, you are right. We use the same approach.
Okay, so thank you very much, and I think that of course we fully understand that now you can't share all the information because the project is still going. But I want to stress for our audience that it's the most difficult thing in MCDA is to invite all together and start working on this, because if you don't include all the stakeholders in this process of selection of criteria, of weighting, it's you can't implement this tool because it doesn't represent the values of all the stakeholders. So I think you've done the most difficult and the most important part of your project, because you initiated it, you started it, and you invited all the stakeholders at the table, and especially Ministry of Health, which is, I think, the most important part. So thank you very much. We wish you good luck. And I hope that we'll continue our collaboration between our countries, because as you mentioned, rare diseases, they have high prevalence in Turkey. It's the same for many CIS countries because of, culture similarity, and this problem is especially important for our countries, and we are looking forward to collaborate with the Middle East countries and to understand how we can work on this problem together and share our best practices. So thank you very much, and I wish everyone nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much again.
For this great meeting.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.